G'day there, Jackson here. Welcome back to Weekly Endeavours starting from the 1st of September onwards. So this set here, unfortunately, we no longer have the crafting 20 items, any skill ones. So it's a bit of a shame, but yeah, 3 weeks in a row, it's kind of crazy. But if I were to choose, I would go weapon poisons. Consumables master writs will be the quickest, but you need 5 writs for this. If you don't have the sealed writs, you're probably going to have to spend a lot of gold getting them. But yeah, definitely quicker than weapon poisons. Battleground matches is the one that doesn't require anything, like any materials or resources. These two do, but Battlegrounds will be the slowest by far. The reason for this is when you queue for Battlegrounds through the activity finder, you need to wait for a team to be ready for you, and that can take 10 minutes upwards of like 30 minutes, maybe even an hour, just depending on the player base. Now, usually when the endeavors come up, it's a bit quicker, but considering that you can do 65 weapon poisons in like maybe, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes, that's usually how long it takes for a Battleground or two, so it's going to be quicker, definitely. So yeah, there's not really much else I need to say about Battlegrounds, just because you don't actually need any skill set to be able to do this, because just completing the Battlegrounds themselves count for this, win or lose. I'll just go through consumable master writs first, but yeah. So provisioning writs, alchemy writs, and enchanting writs all work for these, but you need to be max level and have all the required passive like skill points in these sections here in order to make these things here. So yeah, that's going to be a problem for those who haven't got their stuff maxed out. Okay, so I'll just discuss what my personal opinions are on each of them. I think all of them are good in their own ways. They've got their strengths and weaknesses. So provisioning writs, you need the recipes in order to craft these alongside also needing max level. So, for example, Orzoga's Smoked Bear Haunch, I wouldn't do these ones. Any of these 40 writ voucher ones I wouldn't do. I'd do the ones for like 2 vouchers. But you need, like, for example, the Velothi View Malbec, you need the recipe, researched or, like, read on that character to be able to craft this. So that's, like, an extra issue on top that you need to worry about. But usually, the materials required and the cost of these writs usually is not too bad. So provisioning is a good one if you have these recipes unlocked. But yeah, you can see it's 10k for each of these. That's like 50 grand if you want to do this quickly. That's a lot of gold. But do also keep in mind, sealed master writs are also fucking great for XP. Like, it's just ridiculous how fast you can level up with these, especially on double XP events. We don't have one right now, but yeah, just thought I'd mention that. Alchemy writs, on the other hand, you don't need anything unlocked recipe-wise in order to craft these, but they are usually substantially more expensive to just craft with the resources than provisioning is. Because some of these can take things like mountain flower, violet coprinus, like columbine especially is really expensive and stuff you want to try and avoid using. So yeah, usually the alchemy ingredients are far more expensive than the stuff you need for like most provisioning. Even like the purple recipes for provisioning. The only exception to that rule is those 40 voucher ones, like the ambrosia and the bear haunch, because those need perfect row, which is just like in a league of its own. But every other provisioning one, it's pretty good usually. Enchanting writs, though, are the way to go if you have max level enchanting, because the writs themselves are usually pretty cheap, and the required materials for these are also usually pretty cheap. I say usually, because just like the other ones, there are exceptions. If the glyph that you need to craft for it says anything related to prismatic, do not buy it and do not do it, because that requires you to have a special rune called Hakejo. These things are fucking expensive. If I just go and have a look at these, yeah, 20k each. So yeah, avoid using these in any circumstance. Also, same thing with the provisioning items, the perfect row. Yeah, so perfect row is the same, 40 or 35,000 each on average for these things. So yeah, That's why you want to avoid the ones that are 40 vouchers for the provisioning ones, because yeah, that sucks. Handing them in, once you've done them, you need to come to this guy here, Rollis Halalu. He can be found in the capitals of the alliances. Ebonheart Pact, he's found in Monhol Deshan, Wayrest in Stormhaven, and Eldenroot and Grotwood. Now, this is my personal preference, but I think the one in Deshan is the best, because usually, one, the crafting stations are literally right next to him. If you want to do the alchemy, enchanting, and provisioning ones, there's a provisioning cooking station in here. But also, if you go out to do other master writs, like like blacksmithing, for example, when you need to use like the crafting stations in guild halls, there is also a very cheap house called Flaming Nyx Deluxe Grey. You can buy this for about 10 grand, so basically the price of a single fucking master writ. And you can use this to easily travel straight to him. Now, this is possible in the other locations, but the snug pod here, which is basically the same thing, this is much more expensive. Same thing with the one in Stormhaven. Garden House is like hundreds of thousands of gold, and that's the closest one to him here. Now, if you do have Garden House, it's very quick getting to him here. But yeah, like I said, Garden House is very expensive. Also, if you have one of two add-ons, either Dogavon's Lazy Writ Creator, or you have an add-on called Writworthy, these automate your writ crafting for you. So if you can get these add-ons and install them, these will actually sort of do your work for you. With Writworthy, Dogavon's Lazy Writ Creator, it does it automatically, as long as you've just like got it enabled. But Writworthy, you just have to open up the menu by typing Writworthy in chat there, and then all your writs will show up here, and you can tick a box in the queue section, and once that's done, it'll start crafting those for you whenever you go to the next crafting station. The great thing about Writworthy, and why I highly suggest this, I'll put it in the description if you want to have a gander and install it. But what it does is it crafts everything before you actually accept the quests, so that instead of having to go back and forth between Rollis Halalu and like the crafting station, you can craft them all at once and then hand them one by one by accepting them here and handing them to Rollis Halalu. So it's just one trip to the crafting station and back. It'll save you a lot of time doing that. Because, fun fact, you can't accept more than one of the same master writ. So if you've got 3 provisioning writs, you can only accept one at a time. So that just allows you to accept them all when you get to Rollis, which makes things easier. Okay, let's talk about the other option, which is weapon poisons. So firstly, there is a global cooldown of poison applications of 10 seconds. If you have 2 different poisons on 2 different bars, they both share the same cooldown, which sucks. It means you can't use 2 poisons at once. So also, it's going to cost you quite a few poisons here, 65. Now, getting poisons depends on how long you've been playing the game. If you've been playing it for like a couple of months at least, you will likely have received some crown lethal poisons either from the daily rewards or from just from maybe if you've accepted like crown crates before, or yeah, among other stuff. So if you go to the daily rewards, you'll see there's poisons here, poisons here, poisons here. So if you, I mean, it's not gonna. Oh, actually, no, I'm dumb. Yeah, there's weapon poisons right here. So wait a couple of days, you'll get some naturally from the daily rewards if you can log on for that. So yeah, just use those. Because yeah, that's the ones I've got here. If you don't have any and you can't wait, what you want to do is go to any alchemist NPC in the game. Sorry, let me get my vampirism skill here. Open up the menu, and you'll see some poisons you can use here. Now, I need to make a point. If you're going to use target skeletons, which is a viable strategy, hindering poisons don't work on skeletons. Just keep that in mind. Or I believe any of the target dummies, because they can't be slowed, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, these ones here are fine. And all the regular enemies that you'll find in Overland, usually they can be have poisons applied. So yeah, if you don't like how much these cost, you can buy them on guild stores too for much lower. Or if you have a low-level character and you go to find an alchemist, you'll get the version 1 instead of like 9 or 8 here in these cases, or 14 or whatever. No, sorry, that's 9. They will be just, yeah, version 1, so they'll be much, much cheaper. That can also save you some gold if you don't want to buy that too. But yeah, you'll find alchemists everywhere. For example, you can find one pretty easily in Vocal Guard, in the zone that you start with a way shrine in, just down here in the Crystal Vial. She's upstairs. Serial win. Okay, now comes the annoying part, which is actually using the poisons. So what we first want to do, I don't know why I've got these locked, is you want to equip your poisons. So you just chuck them here. These are the spots you put them on. Now, do keep in mind, these do disable your enchantments at the same time. Now, how do they get applied? If you actually read the tooltip, it explains. But yeah, any weapon ability, basically. Just light attack a bunch of times, and it'll eventually fire off. So there's one there. Now, if you want to basically guarantee that it'll apply in one hit, use an AoE skill, AoE weapon skill. A good example here is Whirling Blades. Get an area that has a lot of targets at once, and use a Whirlwind skill or something like that. But as you can see, it's like straight away it fired off one of them. Now, it only applies to a single target at a time, and yeah, you can't just keep applying it constantly. You have to wait for the cooldown. That's what I mean. That's the painful part. There you go. It's applied then. So yeah, it is going to take you a while, unfortunately, waiting for the cooldown. But what I can suggest to you is, you can see down here I've actually got the cooldown listed in this add-on. So yeah, you can see it cooling down now. This add-on, it's a bit finicky, but it's called Poison Tracker. I suggest that if you want to use this, I think it, as far as I'm aware, it only works with this poison type though, and it's very broken unless you use like there's like a command or like a thing you got to change in the file, like the notepad file that you get with it. Someone put it in the comments for the add-ons ESO UI page, so if you need to know how that works, you can just follow that. But yeah, what this does is it keeps an eye on the cooldown, so you know, like if I try and use it now, it won't work. But if I wait for the add-on to show me that it's off cooldown, now I use it and then it fires straight away. So that's a way to keep tabs on the cooldown. Now, this might get me in trouble, I don't know. But what you can do is just hold down left click. Yeah, hold down left click. And eventually, your heavy attacks will fire the poisons. Now, you can use this. So hold on, let me show you something with computers. I assume, like on controller, you could probably just like put sticky tape on the button that you use to hold down to heavy attack. But on computer, you can do something better. Okay, so go to mouse settings, down to the bottom, additional mouse settings. Now we want to go to, where is it? Turn on click lock. Turn that on, apply. Just have this window open for when you want to stop it. But now, if you hold down the left mouse button for a while, now if I let it go, it'll start heavy attacking for me. So I can basically just use this as a macro to keep my character constantly heavy attacking. And now if you want, you can just walk away, get yourself some dinner or some breakfast or whatever, or a cup of coffee or something. Maybe just do some exercise, and your character will just do your poisons endeavor for you. Now this works for, I think, 5 minutes before it automatically disables itself. So you can't just do this forever, but it'll automate a lot more of the stuff for you, which is nice. Look, if you've got a problem with this, it's not really harming anyone. I'm just sitting here doing the endeavor, so I personally don't see any issues with this. Obviously, if you use it in like a harmful way, sure, it's a problem, but yeah, I just don't see any issue with this. And if you either hold it down again, it'll disable it, or when you're ready to turn it off, just go back to your mouse settings, just go turn off click lock. Okay. And for those who just want to do it the regular way, you can just go kill some enemies in a public dungeon. I suggest a public dungeon because there's a lot more enemies in them than like delves. Group dungeons work too, and they're instant, so that might actually be better. Yeah, nothing wrong with public dungeons. They're sort of like a middle ground, because all the enemies are not as tough as they are in group dungeons. And just remember, every weapon ability that you have that is either AoE and or deals like damage over time, the better it'll be. So as an example, right, I'm running Stampede, which is a ground targeted AoE with damage over time. Carve, which is a AoE damage over time. I've got Whirlwind as an AoE spam ball. I can also use, if I want to go even further, I can use Blade Cloak. So run Blade Cloak, go into the fight, Stampede, Carve, and then spam Stampede. And that would get me a bunch of chance to stick it with the poison. And just make sure you got poisons on both bards if you can too. And yeah, eventually you'll get this done. It's definitely more work than just sitting there and having click lock on your PC. Or, you know, sticky tape controller, whatever. Alright, I guess we'll see if this gets me in trouble, but I don't think I'm important enough for that to matter. But we'll see. So, thanks everyone for watching. If you've got any questions for anything I talk about here, or if you've got some insights of your own, please chuck something in the comments. I'll be interested to know. But for now, thanks everyone for watching. Take care for now. I'll see you next time. Peace.